Good morning. It is 10:15, January 26th, 2026, and I'm doing a podcast on a ice storm. I'm in Northeast Georgia, and we had a grade A pain in the ass, historical proportion ice rain storm, and I guess it started yesterday about this time. And so I'm just going to do a podcast on my impressions and what's dangerous. There's a lot that's dangerous. And what's the remedy to make things more safe. I've got video of a lot of the ice storm, so I could edit that in. Okay, first of all, I'm downstairs, but a tree could fall on the house any second, and I would not be surprised at all. And, it's probably not going to go through the top floor to the bottom floor, but if there's one tree that hits just the wrong way, perhaps it could go through the top floor to the bottom floor, but probably not. So the power went out yesterday afternoon. Let's say the ice storm flurry just came down like 10:30 to 11:30 yesterday or something. And then the power went out around 2 or 3. And so my particular situation is I had one factor where I appear irresponsible, but it's really not me being irresponsible. It's just a service provider delay. But so I have a 250-gallon propane tank, and my propane tank ran out. And so I guess 2 nights ago, it was, I keep it at 67. I think it went from 67 to 63, and then 63 to 57 when I didn't have the central furnace running. But then I have 4 space heaters. And so when the electricity's on, those space heaters can adequately heat, 300 square foot here, 300 square foot there, 300 square foot here. And so it's not an issue to run out of propane if the electricity's on. But now it's, approaching 24 hours without electricity. And so in retrospect, I should have called to fill up the propane at 25% versus 20%. But they delayed they should have been here, and I guess they got held up. But anyway, I have an empty propane tank. But that sounds scary, but it's not the primary problem. So the danger is the cold, right? So I have 2 heat sources. I have the fireplace prefab, and I have my car. This Nissan Rogue 2016 SUV, just reliable, good size for running errands. And then I have a truck. It's got 4-wheel drive, and I let the battery run out on that, so I need to charge the battery. I do have a battery charger, and so I can use the Nissan Rogue, and I've got an inverter for the cigarette lighter, so I can charge the battery charger for the truck if I needed to get out. So that's the worry of the moment, um, because the Georgia Power. Um, so I have 5G signal, and I've got 5 bars, and I'm pretty rural. I don't have a I'm in the countryside, and there's a .8 mile road that's not paved, and I'm at 2,000 feet approximately on a small to medium hill mountain, and and so this phone, I got the latest greatest phone. It's awesome, and when I was in Orlando, and so I have AT&T, and this battery. I mean, I've been using this phone a lot just to dilly dally around. Uh, my A lot of spare time where you're just sitting around, and so anyway, this battery lasts like 3 days, and like when you're using it too. So all I have to do for this, that's the most important thing to remedy to make it safe, is to have a really good phone with a good signal that's easily rechargeable. So I just go out and start my car, and start my SUV, and then I can charge that phone to 100% really fast. So yesterday I went, the first thing I did was I started my car, my Nissan Rogue. I keep saying car instead of SUV, but I use them interchangeably. But it's it seems to be like small, medium, large. Like if you're worried about your car not starting, or like ice issues, um, it seems to me that it's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Small, medium, large. If you're worried slightly, just charge it for 15 minutes, turn the car on, run it for 15 minutes, come back, turn it off. Medium worried, run it for 30 minutes. If you're really worried, run it for 45 minutes. Um, I think I ran it for like 35 minutes or something. And yesterday, so it'll start right up. And so I'm going to go charge my phone. I have 16% on there. And so, last night I had started a fire, and you have to get really close to the fire, but that's really, top-notch heat. So, but if you have 5 or 6 people, you're only going to have 2 or 3 people at a time rotating uh, access to the fire, and then that's squishing into the fire pit area. Um, so what are the other options to think about? Like, if I had propane, I have 2 solar panels, and I charge 2 batteries, and somehow it's supposed to be like 13 and a half, 14 volts, and then it's only 9 or 10 volts, and then that electricity inverter doesn't work, so that's not working for me. um, Perhaps I should have 6 solar panels, and so that you really juice up that really charge up that those 2 batteries, and keep them at top level. um, let's see. Yeah, I just had 100 solar panels, I think. So that's too small. Um, but I bought that a long time ago. You probably can get a 350, 350 solar panels and be in really good shape. Um, so yeah, I mean, you just dress extremely warmly. I have, 3 layers, and then I have an extra thick coat, and then you have 4 layers of regular fitted sheet, a flannel fleece type thing, and then a real thick comforter. And I'm feeling very comfortable with that. And it's probably in the 40s in the house, and in the 20s outside. So if a tree fell, that would really suck. And then and that's it's very, and so I can't get out, right? But what do I have? I have a ventless propane heater. Uh, Not ventless. You can vent it inside, and it doesn't need a outlet to go to the outside. So I do have a 20-gallon propane tank that I could use for that, and then find a room that's not wouldn't be affected by the tree falling in area, and heat that room up. But yeah, the SUV. I mean, the worst case scenario is if a tree fell on the house, then I'd just go to the SUV. And if a tree fell on the SUV, then I'd probably start to be worried, um, and start up my truck battery. But there's usually an option. But when you get to the last few options, or one or two options, it's very worrisome. And so um, what in terms of food and whatnot, I mean, you can't heat anything up. But if I had a fire going this morning, which I'll probably start another fire, um, it's pretty easy to just use a long of a some more type thing, um, and fork, and just heat up a burger and throw some buns on there or something. And um, so I'm not worried about food. I mean, I have a freezer full of food, and I have a full refrigerator. Um, Upstairs, and a full refrigerator downstairs. So, and I have 3 5-gallon things of water, which I use because I filter my own well water. And so I have really top quality water. Um, I, that's the gist of it. The There were so many branches falling with the ice weight, the weight of the ice rain just attaching to the branches, and so it's just like it sounded like it was just one branch after another. It was very weird um, experience seeing that. One branch fell off a top tree, and it came pretty close over here, but the house has been lucky so far in terms of clearing. I cleared out a lot of the area around the house, It took me a few years to get rid of those trees around the house, and I'm really glad I did. Um, I had a gutter. I have a gutter down, so the gutter filled with the ice rain, and then it weighed so much that it just um, caved. Uh, yeah, so um, Georgia Power has. I'm accessing, the Georgia Power database on the technicians probably use, and it's telling me this is Winter Storm Fern. And so I'm in an area where there's a lot of outages. And so I click on my area and I get the number of people affected. So I don't know, that was like 300 before. I mean, 230 before. Now it's 121. So that's pretty good. I guess it's an improvement. Um, but that's a lot of fault lines, fault connections. So anyways, I'm sure there's a few other things that I should mention that I haven't, but yeah, if you have a 20, just like you use for regular grill, 20-pound propane tank and a vent, a vented, I get confused, vented or ventless, the type that you could run inside the propane heater, um, then that'll last, a, I mean, keep you toasty for a bunch of hours, 4 or 5 hours plus. But yeah, it's cool in the house, but I don't have any. It's fairly well enclosed house and fairly well insulated house, so it's probably not going to get cooler than this in the mid 40s. And so, I mean, it might get a little colder, but it's the electricity will probably come on before it gets into the 30s. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of napping away in my warm outfits, and it's no big deal. But early afternoon when it warms up a little bit, I'll get into the car, heat up, and charge my phone. So that'll probably take 30 minutes to heat up. Probably take 45 minutes to charge my phone, and then I'll feel that extra security of having that a cell phone at all times. And yeah, I mean, the from a government standpoint, you really want the cell phone towers on all the time, and that's primary. And it seems they've done that. And so I've got a great signal. It hasn't tapered off. It never phased out. And then you want the probably the second night of the event. You want to really max that out. I guess sunrise, sunset. Sunset is 5:30, 5:50. So you want to max out the electricity restoration before 5:50 on the second day for sure. And so it's 10:30 now. I'm thinking, uh, yeah, they got about 6 or 7 hours to get the electricity on the second day, and then that's not a big deal. My space heaters will kick in and heat it up to about 60, and so yeah, the points of failure are many. I mean, we're like 5 points of failure: my car, my truck, my propane tank, my space heater, my ventless propane heater, and the cold weather in the SUV is how it affects the battery. I think if you have like newer cars, they do great with the battery life of the startup battery, and not like the old cars where if it got cold, a lot of times they wouldn't start. Some technology improvement boosted that up so that it's it was extremely cold yesterday and icy, and my SUV just started like it was uh, a warm day in May. So um, that's about it for my podcast. I mean, I've got family in Atlanta, and they're very competent and they do their own thing, and so and I guess my parents are at a 4-star hotel, so they're not in any worries. But yeah, this hit the South really bad, and it looks like it's going to hit the Mid Atlantic really bad, and it looks like it's probably going to hit the Northeast pretty bad. The reports said that there were going to be winds this morning, but that's not accurate. Like wind gusts, there hasn't been any wind, and if there were wind gusts, I'm sure that the trees would just topple left and right. So a lot of the big trees haven't had any issues except for just like cracking heavy branches, or just like branches like this that just kind of fall. And the ice storm, I was expecting like hail type things, but it wasn't like hail. It was just like thick, slushy, icy rain snow. And so there weren't like it wasn't like hail. So that's it for the podcast. uh I'm getting back to staying warm, and so that was an historical ice event. And yeah, I have this poster of New York behind me, but it's really I'm really in Northeast Georgia, so um, I'll if I upload this to YouTube, I'll have the footage of the ice storm, and then the watching the branches fall, and then look at the aftermath. A lot of the trees are just like tilting, like at the top, and you'd think they would have more cracks at the top, but there's really not many cracks at the top at all. And I have to fix the gutter. That's the only monetary damage that I've had. Um, but I could probably repair that pretty easily. And yeah, I had a professional gutter person install those about 10 years ago, and they haven't had any problems until an historical ice event. And so I'm signing out of this podcast. I hope there's some information in there, kernels of or tidbits of information that can help uh, with your preparations in winter storms. All right, signing out. See ya.